This is Mental Forge, where weakness burns and warriors are built. Picture this. Thomas Edison sits in his laboratory at 3 in the morning, surrounded by the remnants of his 999th failed attempt at creating the light bulb. The world calls him crazy. His investors are pulling out. His critics are laughing. But Edison isn't thinking about failure. He's thinking about the 1,000 different ways that don't work, and he knows he's closer than ever to the one way that will change the world forever. What separated Edison from every other inventor of his time wasn't his intelligence, wasn't his resources, wasn't even his technical skill. It was what he did every single morning before the world woke up. It was a ritual so simple, so profound, that it literally rewired his brain to see opportunity where others saw impossibility, to see progress where others saw failure, to see certainty where others saw fear. Today, I'm going to share with you that exact same ritual, refined and perfected through decades of study from the greatest minds who ever lived. This isn't just about morning routines or productivity hacks. This is about fundamentally transforming who you are at the deepest level of your being. By the time we're done here, you'll have a precise, step-by-step system that will kill fear at its root and replace it with unshakable confidence, unstoppable momentum, and absolute certainty in your ability to create the life you desire. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years studying the most successful people in history, and he discovered something remarkable. Every single one of them had developed what he called a definite major purpose, and they all had a specific way of reinforcing that purpose every single day. Henry Ford didn't just decide to put America on wheels. He programmed that vision into his subconscious mind through repetition until it became more real to him than his current circumstances. Andrew Carnegie didn't just wish to become the richest man in America. He created a mental blueprint that he reviewed and refined every morning until his subconscious mind had no choice but to find ways to make it reality. Fear is nothing more than false evidence appearing real. It's your mind's way of keeping you safe in your comfort zone, but that same mechanism that once protected our ancestors from saber-toothed tigers is now preventing you from achieving your greatest dreams. The beautiful truth is this: fear is learned, which means it can be unlearned. Courage is learned, which means it can be developed. Success is learned, which means it can be mastered. And it all begins with what you do in the first 30 minutes of every day. Your subconscious mind is like a vast garden. Whatever seeds you plant, there will grow. Most people plant seeds of doubt, worry, anxiety, and limitation without even realizing it. They wake up and immediately check their phones, flooding their minds with negativity, comparison, and fear-based thinking. They start their day in reaction mode instead of creation mode. But what if you could flip this script? What if you could use those first crucial minutes to plant seeds of power, confidence, vision, and unstoppable determination? Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the ancient world, understood this principle profoundly. Every morning, the Roman emperor would write in his journal, not about his empire or his armies, but about his character, his principles, and his commitment to virtue. He would remind himself of his true nature, his highest values, and his deepest purpose. These weren't just pretty thoughts. These were mental commands that shaped his identity and guided his actions throughout the day. Aurelius knew that external circumstances couldn't be controlled, but his response to those circumstances could be mastered completely. The ritual I'm about to share with you combines the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius with the practical psychology of Napoleon Hill, the spiritual insights of James Allen, and the neuroscientific discoveries of modern brain research. It's a system that has been tested by millions of successful people throughout history, refined and perfected into a simple, powerful process that anyone can master. Before we dive deep into this transformational system, I want you to do something for me. I want you to subscribe to this channel right now. Not because I need the numbers, but because I need you to make a commitment to your growth. That simple act of clicking subscribe is your first step toward becoming the person who deserves the life you desire. It's a signal to your subconscious mind that you're serious about change, that you're ready to invest in yourself, and that you're committed to doing whatever it takes to transform your life. Now, let's talk about the science behind why this morning ritual is so incredibly powerful. Dr. Joe Dispenza has shown through his research that the first moments after waking are when your brain is in a highly programmable state. Your brain waves are shifting from theta to alpha, creating a window of opportunity where new information can be installed directly into your subconscious mind with minimal resistance. This is the same state that hypnotists use to help people overcome phobias, break addictions, and install new beliefs. Charles Haanel, the author of the Master Key System, called this the mental attitude that determines your entire day. He understood that the thoughts you think in the first few minutes after waking set the tone for everything that follows. If you wake up thinking about your problems, your fears, and your limitations, you program your subconscious mind to find evidence that supports those thoughts throughout the day. But if you wake up focused on your vision, your purpose, and your power, your subconscious mind becomes a seeking mechanism for opportunities, solutions, and possibilities. The ritual begins the moment you open your eyes. Instead of reaching for your phone or immediately jumping into the chaos of the day, you're going to take control of your mental state with intentional, purposeful thinking. The first step is what I call the gratitude foundation. Before your feet hit the floor, while you're still lying in bed, you're going to think of 3 specific things you're genuinely grateful for. But here's the key. You're not just going to list them mentally. You're going to feel them deeply, emotionally, with every fiber of your being. Wallace Wattles taught that gratitude is the bridge between poverty consciousness and wealth consciousness. When you start your day with genuine appreciation, you align your vibration with abundance. You signal to the universe that you recognize and value the good in your life, which naturally attracts more good into your experience. But this isn't just spiritual theory. Neuroscience has proven that gratitude literally rewires your brain, strengthening neural pathways associated with positive emotions and weakening pathways associated with fear and negativity. Think about something you're grateful for right now. Maybe it's your health, your family, your home, or simply the fact that you're alive and breathing in this moment. Feel that appreciation in your chest. Let it warm your heart. Let it remind you of how blessed you truly are. This feeling, this energy, this is what you want to carry into every single day. After you've established your gratitude foundation, the second step is what I call identity declaration. This is where you consciously choose who you're going to be today. Most people let their identity be determined by their circumstances, their past, or other people's opinions. But you're going to take control of your identity and declare it with absolute certainty. Bob Proctor taught that you don't get what you want in life, you get what you are. Your identity determines your thoughts determine your actions, and your actions determine your results. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, you'll unconsciously make decisions that keep you struggling. If you see yourself as someone who's afraid of taking risks, you'll unconsciously avoid opportunities. But if you see yourself as someone who's destined for greatness, who's worthy of success, who's capable of achieving anything you set your mind to, your entire life will shift to match that identity. Abraham Lincoln understood this principle deeply. Long before he became president, while he was still a poor lawyer in Springfield, Illinois, Lincoln would spend time every morning visualizing himself as a great leader. He would imagine himself giving powerful speeches that inspired and united people. He would see himself making decisions that shaped the destiny of a nation. This wasn't wishful thinking. This was identity programming. Lincoln was training his subconscious mind to see him as presidential material, and eventually, reality had no choice but to catch up with his self-image. Your identity declaration might sound something like this. I am a person of unstoppable determination and unshakable faith. I am worthy of incredible success and abundant prosperity. I am a powerful creator who turns vision into reality. I am fearless in the pursuit of my dreams and relentless in the achievement of my goals. I am a magnet for opportunities, a solver of problems, and a leader who inspires others to greatness. The key is to speak these declarations with absolute conviction, as if they're already true, because at the deepest level of reality, they are. You're not trying to convince yourself of something false. You're remembering something true about your essential nature that fear and conditioning have made you forget. The third step in our morning ritual is vision reinforcement. This is where you connect with your definite major purpose, your burning desire, your ultimate vision for your life. Napoleon Hill discovered that every great achievement begins with a definite major purpose that consumes the mind and drives all action. Without this clarity, you're like a ship without a compass, drifting wherever the current takes you. Your vision must be specific, compelling, and emotionally charged. It's not enough to say you want to be successful or happy. Success and happiness are too vague for your subconscious mind to work with. You need crystal clear pictures of exactly what you want to create, achieve, and become. You need to see yourself living in your dream home, building your ideal business, enjoying perfect health, surrounded by loving relationships, making the impact you want to make in the world. Henry Ford didn't just want to build cars. He wanted to put America on wheels, to give every family the freedom and mobility that only the wealthy had enjoyed. His vision was so clear, so compelling, that it pulled him through every obstacle, every setback, every moment of doubt. When his engineers told him it was impossible to build a V8 engine in one piece, Ford didn't accept their limitation. He held on to his vision and kept pushing until they found a way to make the impossible possible. During your vision reinforcement, you're going to spend at least 5 minutes mentally rehearsing your ideal life in vivid detail. See yourself achieving your goals. Feel the emotions of success. Hear the sounds of celebration. Smell the sense of your dream environment. Make it so real in your mind that your body begins to respond as if it's actually happening. This isn't daydreaming. This is mental programming of the highest order. The fourth step is what I call fear confrontation. This is where most people want to skip ahead, but this step is absolutely crucial for permanent transformation. Instead of avoiding your fears or pretending they don't exist, you're going to face them head-on and dissolve them with truth and power. Fear thrives in darkness and ambiguity. When you bring your fears into the light of conscious examination, they lose most of their power over you. You realize that 95% of what you worry about never actually happens, and the 5% that does happen is rarely as bad as you imagined it would be. More importantly, you realize that you have the strength, intelligence, and resourcefulness to handle whatever life throws at you. Think about your biggest fear right now. Maybe it's fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of losing money, fear of what other people think. Now ask yourself these powerful questions. What's the worst thing that could realistically happen if this fear came true? Could I survive it? Could I learn from it? Could I even grow stronger because of it? Have other people faced similar challenges and overcome them? What would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? Theodore Roosevelt, one of the most courageous leaders in American history, battled asthma as a child and was told by doctors that he would always be weak and sickly. Instead of accepting this limitation, Roosevelt decided to build his body and his courage through deliberate practice. He spent hours every day exercising, pushing himself beyond his comfort zone, training himself to be strong. He famously said, "Do something every day that scares you." Roosevelt understood that courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and acting anyway. Your fear confrontation might involve writing down your fears and then writing powerful responses to each one. You might visualize yourself handling challenging situations with grace and strength. You might remind yourself of times in the past when you overcame obstacles that seemed impossible at the time. The goal is to shift from seeing yourself as a victim of your fears to seeing yourself as a warrior who uses fear as fuel for growth. The fifth step in our ritual is affirmation power. This is where you program your subconscious mind with empowering beliefs that support your vision and destroy your limitations. Affirmations aren't just positive thinking. When done correctly, they're a precise technology for rewiring your neural pathways and installing new programs in your mental computer. Joseph Murphy, the author of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, taught that your subconscious mind accepts whatever you repeatedly tell it as truth. It doesn't question, analyze, or judge. It simply accepts and acts upon the information it receives. This is why most people live limited lives. They've been unconsciously programming their subconscious minds with limitation, fear, and negativity for years, and their external results reflect these internal programs. But you can flip this script. You can consciously choose the beliefs you want to install and reinforce them through repetition until they become your new reality. The key is to create affirmations that are personal, present tense, positive, and emotionally charged. Instead of saying, "I will be successful someday," you say, "I am becoming more successful every single day." Instead of saying, "I hope to overcome my fears," you say, "I am fearless and unstoppable in the pursuit of my dreams." Here are some powerful affirmations you can use or modify to fit your specific situation. I am attracting incredible opportunities into my life every day. Money flows to me easily and abundantly from multiple sources. I make decisions quickly and confidently because I trust my inner guidance. I am healthy, energetic, and vibrant in every cell of my body. I radiate confidence and attract positive people and experiences. I am grateful for my challenges because they make me stronger and wiser. I deserve all the success and abundance that life has to offer. The secret to making affirmations work is repetition with emotion. You must feel the truth of these statements as you speak them. If you just recite them like a robot, they won't penetrate your subconscious mind. But if you speak them with passion, conviction, and genuine belief, they become commands that your subconscious mind has no choice but to obey. Winston Churchill understood the power of words and repetition better than almost anyone. During World War II, when Britain stood alone against the Nazi war machine, Churchill used the power of language to transform the mindset of an entire nation. He didn't just give speeches. He programmed the collective subconscious of the British people with messages of strength, resilience, and ultimate victory. His famous words, "We shall never surrender," weren't just a statement of policy. They were an affirmation that reprogrammed the beliefs of millions of people and literally changed the course of history. The sixth step in our morning ritual is action planning. This is where you bridge the gap between vision and reality by identifying specific actions you can take today to move closer to your goals. Without action, everything we've discussed remains just mental exercise. But with consistent, purposeful action, you become an unstoppable force of creation. Your action planning should focus on 3 key areas: immediate actions you can take today, strategic actions you can take this week, and bold actions you can take this month. The immediate actions should be simple, specific, and achievable. They might include making a phone call, sending an email, researching information, or practicing a skill. The strategic actions should move you significantly closer to your major goals. The bold actions should stretch you beyond your comfort zone and accelerate your progress dramatically. Andrew Carnegie, who became one of the richest men in history, attributed his success to his habit of planning his actions the night before and reviewing them every morning. He would identify the most important tasks that would move him closer to his goals and focus all his energy on completing those tasks. Carnegie understood that success isn't about being busy. Success is about being productive on the things that matter most. As you plan your actions, ask yourself these powerful questions. What one action could I take today that would have the biggest positive impact on my goals? What am I avoiding that I know I should be doing? What would I do if I had unlimited confidence and resources? What would my future successful self advise me to do right now? Write down your actions and commit to completing them no matter what obstacles arise. This commitment to follow through on your plans is what separates successful people from dreamers. Dreamers have great visions. Successful people have great visions and the discipline to take consistent action toward making those visions reality. Now, I want to pause here and ask you to do something that will multiply the power of everything we're discussing. I want you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and I want you to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. More importantly, I want you to commit to implementing what you're learning. Knowledge without application is just entertainment, but knowledge with consistent application becomes transformation. By subscribing, you're making a commitment to your growth, and I'm making a commitment to provide you with the insights, strategies, and inspiration you need to create extraordinary results in your life. The 7th step in our morning ritual is energy cultivation. This is where you deliberately raise your vibration and energy level to match the frequency of success. Everything in the universe is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Fear, doubt, and limitation vibrate at low frequencies. Confidence, joy, and abundance vibrate at high frequencies. To attract success into your life, you must become a vibrational match for success. There are several ways to cultivate high energy states. Physical movement is one of the most powerful. When you move your body with intention and intensity, you immediately shift your energy and your mindset. This might involve doing jumping jacks, push-ups, stretching, dancing, or any form of movement that gets your blood flowing and your energy rising. Breathing exercises are another powerful tool for energy cultivation. Deep, intentional breathing oxygenates your brain, calms your nervous system, and centers your mind. Try this simple but powerful breathing technique. Inhale deeply for 4 counts, Hold for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4 counts. Repeat this cycle 10 times while focusing on filling your body with energy and releasing any tension or negativity. Music can also be a powerful tool for raising your vibration. Create a playlist of songs that inspire you, motivate you, and make you feel unstoppable. Let the rhythm and energy of the music fill your entire being and lift you to a higher state of consciousness. Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor whose discoveries gave us alternating current and wireless technology, understood the power of energy and vibration better than almost anyone. Tesla would spend time every morning aligning his mental and emotional energy with his vision of the future. He would visualize his inventions working perfectly and feel their reality before they were ever built. Tesla said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." The 8th and final step in our morning ritual is commitment renewal. This is where you make a sacred promise to yourself to live this day with purpose, power, and absolute integrity. You commit to being the person your vision requires you to become. You commit to taking the actions you've planned, regardless of how you feel or what obstacles arise. You commit to maintaining your high energy and positive focus throughout the day. This commitment isn't just words. It's a covenant with your highest self, a promise to honor your potential and pursue your dreams with relentless determination. When you make this commitment with genuine sincerity, something powerful happens in your subconscious mind. You activate what Napoleon Hill called the mastermind principle, where all the forces of your being align behind your definite purpose. Leonardo da Vinci, perhaps the most versatile genius who ever lived, understood the power of daily commitment better than almost anyone. Every morning, Da Vinci would renew his commitment to learning, creating, and pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. He committed to filling pages in his notebooks with observations, ideas, and experiments. He committed to improving his artistic skills through deliberate practice. He committed to questioning everything and accepting nothing as impossible. This daily commitment to excellence and growth is what enabled Da Vinci to excel in so many different areas: art, science, engineering, anatomy, architecture, and invention. Your commitment renewal might sound something like this: I commit to living this day as the highest version of myself. I commit to taking bold action toward my dreams, despite any fear or uncertainty I may feel. I commit to maintaining a positive, powerful mindset, regardless of external circumstances. I commit to treating myself and others with respect, kindness, and integrity. I commit to learning, growing, and becoming better today than I was yesterday. I commit to trusting the process and knowing that everything is working out for my highest good. When you speak these commitments with genuine conviction, you're not just setting intentions. You're programming your subconscious mind to guide your thoughts, emotions, and actions throughout the day in alignment with your highest vision for your life. Now, let me share with you the profound science behind why this 8-step morning ritual is so incredibly effective at killing fear and building unstoppable confidence. Dr. Bruce Lipton's research in epigenetics has shown that our beliefs and thoughts literally control our biology. When you start your day with empowering thoughts and emotions, you signal your genes to express proteins associated with growth, healing, and vitality. When you start your day with fear and negativity, you signal your genes to express proteins associated with stress, inflammation, and disease. The morning ritual we've outlined literally rewires your brain through a process called neuroplasticity. Every time you repeat these practices, you strengthen neural pathways associated with confidence, optimism, and success, while weakening pathways associated with fear, doubt, and limitation. Over time, positive thinking and empowered action become your default modes of operation. Dr. Martin Seligman's research on learned optimism has proven that optimism can be developed through specific mental practices. People who practice gratitude, positive visualization, and empowering affirmations literally train their brains to focus on possibilities rather than problems, solutions rather than obstacles, opportunities rather than threats. The ritual also works because it puts you in what psychologists call a flow state, or what athletes call the zone. This is a state of consciousness where you're fully present, completely focused, and operating at peak performance. In this state, Fear dissolves because you're not thinking about past failures or future problems. You're fully engaged with the present moment and your current objectives. But the real magic happens when you practice this ritual consistently for 21 days or more. According to neuroscientist Dr. Caroline Leaf, it takes approximately 21 days of repetition to build a new neural pathway and 66 days to make it permanent. When you commit to this morning ritual for at least 21 consecutive days, you literally reshape your brain's default programming. Let me tell you about John D. Rockefeller, who became the richest man in modern history through his understanding of these principles. Rockefeller had a morning ritual that he followed religiously for over 50 years. He would wake up early, spend time in meditation and prayer, review his goals and plans, and set his intention for the day. Rockefeller understood that success wasn't about working harder than everyone else. Success was about programming his mind for success, and then allowing that programming to guide his decisions and actions throughout the day. Rockefeller faced enormous challenges in building Standard Oil. He dealt with fierce competition, hostile politicians, economic downturns, and constant criticism from the press. But he never let external circumstances determine his internal state. Every morning, he would reconnect with his vision, renew his confidence, and approach the day with absolute certainty that he would find a way to overcome any obstacle and achieve his objectives. What separated Rockefeller from other businessmen of his era wasn't superior intelligence or better connections. It was his disciplined approach to managing his mental and emotional state. He understood that his thoughts and feelings determined his actions, and his actions determined his results. By controlling his thoughts and feelings through his morning ritual, he gained control over his entire life. The beautiful truth is that you have access to the same principles and practices that made Rockefeller incredibly successful. You have the same brain, the same potential, the same ability to program your subconscious mind for success. The only difference is whether you choose to use these principles consistently or let them remain theoretical knowledge. Now, let's talk about how to implement this ritual in a way that fits your current lifestyle and circumstances. You don't need hours every morning to practice these principles effectively. Even 15 to 20 minutes of focused practice can produce profound results if you're consistent and intentional. If you're pressed for time, you can practice the gratitude foundation while you're still in bed. Do your identity declaration and affirmations while you're getting dressed. Visualize your goals while you're having breakfast, and plan your actions while you're commuting to work. The key is consistency, not duration. It's better to practice for 10 minutes every day than to practice for an hour once a week. If you're dealing with a particularly challenging situation in your life right now, you can modify the ritual to address your specific needs. If you're struggling financially, focus more attention on abundance affirmations and wealth-building visualizations. If you're dealing with relationship issues, emphasize gratitude for the love in your life and visualize harmonious connections. If you're facing health challenges, concentrate on affirmations of vitality and visualizations of perfect health. The ritual is infinitely adaptable, but the core principles remain the same. Start your day by consciously choosing your thoughts, emotions, and focus, instead of letting them be determined by circumstances, other people, or random mental chatter. Alexander the Great, who conquered most of the known world before his 33rd birthday, understood the power of morning preparation better than almost any military leader in history. Before every battle, Alexander would spend time visualizing victory, affirming his destiny as a conqueror, and programming his mind with absolute certainty that he would prevail. He would imagine his strategies working perfectly, see his troops fighting with courage and skill, and feel the emotions of triumph before the battle even began. This mental preparation wasn't just psychological comfort. It was strategic programming that enabled Alexander to make brilliant decisions under pressure, inspire his troops to extraordinary feats of courage, and maintain unwavering confidence even when facing seemingly impossible odds. Alexander's morning ritual of mental preparation was as important to his success as his military training or strategic intelligence. You may not be planning to conquer empires, but you face battles every day. Battles against fear, doubt, procrastination, negative thinking, and limiting beliefs. These internal battles determine the quality of your external life. When you win the battle in your mind every morning, you set yourself up to win the battles you face throughout the day. As we begin to wrap up our exploration of this life-changing morning ritual, I want to address some of the common challenges and objections people have when they first hear about these principles. Some people say, "This sounds too good to be true. If it were really this simple, wouldn't everyone be doing it?" The answer is that it is this simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. It requires discipline, consistency, and faith in the process, even when you don't see immediate results. Most people are looking for quick fixes and instant gratification. They want to transform their lives without changing their habits. They want different results while continuing to think the same thoughts and take the same actions. But lasting transformation requires a commitment to daily practice and gradual improvement over time. Others say, "I don't have time for a morning ritual. My life is too busy and chaotic." But this objection reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of priorities. You don't have time not to practice these principles. The 15 to 20 minutes you invest in your morning ritual will save you hours of stress, confusion, and ineffective action throughout the day. When you start your day with clarity and purpose, everything else becomes more efficient and effective. Some people worry that positive thinking and affirmations are just self-deception, that they're ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. But this ritual isn't about denying reality. It's about choosing which aspect of reality you want to focus on and expand. Every situation contains both positive and negative elements. Most people unconsciously focus on the negative and wonder why their lives are filled with problems. This ritual trains you to consciously focus on the positive and watch as your life fills with opportunities and solutions. The truth is that you're already practicing affirmations and visualizations every day. The only question is whether you're using them to empower yourself or limit yourself. When you worry about the future, you're visualizing negative outcomes and affirming your fears. When you replay past failures in your mind, you're reinforcing limiting beliefs about your capabilities. This ritual simply redirects that same mental energy toward creating the life you want instead of perpetuating the life you don't want. Mahatma Gandhi, who transformed an entire nation through the power of his beliefs and daily practices, once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." Gandhi's morning ritual included meditation, prayer, spinning thread, and setting his intention to serve the highest good. These practices weren't separate from his political activism. They were the foundation that made his activism possible. By transforming himself first, Gandhi gained the inner strength and clarity necessary to transform his country. Gandhi faced seemingly impossible odds. A tiny, frail man challenging the mighty British Empire without weapons or armies. But Gandhi understood that the real battle was always internal. When he won the battle against his own fears, doubts, and limitations, he gained access to a power that no external force could overcome. His morning practices gave him the mental discipline, emotional stability, and spiritual strength to maintain his vision and values, even under extreme pressure. You have access to the same source of power that Gandhi tapped into. You have the same ability to transform yourself and, through your transformation, influence everything around you. It all begins with the decision to take control of your mental and emotional state through consistent daily practice. Before we conclude, I want to make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss content that can accelerate your growth and success. But more importantly, I want you to make a commitment to yourself right now. I want you to commit to practicing this morning ritual for the next 21 days without exception. Not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient, but every single day regardless of circumstances. This commitment is your first act of courage, your first victory over fear, your first step toward becoming the person you're destined to become. When you prove to yourself that you can keep a commitment to yourself, you build self-trust and self-respect. When you build self-trust and self-respect, you develop genuine confidence. And when you develop genuine confidence, fear loses its power over you permanently. Here's what's going to happen when you practice this ritual consistently. In the first week, you'll notice that you feel more positive and energetic throughout the day. You'll find yourself thinking more clearly and making better decisions. You'll start to see opportunities that you previously missed because your mind was focused on problems instead of possibilities. In the second week, you'll begin to notice that challenges don't affect you the same way they used to. You'll maintain your composure under pressure and respond to difficulties with greater wisdom and strength. People around you will start to comment on your increased confidence and positive energy. By the third week, you'll experience what feels like magic but is actually the natural result of aligning your conscious and subconscious minds with your highest vision. Opportunities will appear seemingly out of nowhere. The right people will show up at the right time. Solutions to long-standing problems will suddenly become obvious. You'll realize that you're not just practicing a morning ritual. You're practicing a way of life that attracts success like a magnet. Earl Nightingale, known as the Dean of Personal Development, spent his entire life studying what makes people successful. His conclusion was beautifully simple. We become what we think about most of the time. This morning ritual ensures that you're thinking about your vision, your goals, and your potential instead of your problems, your fears, and your limitations. When you consistently think about success, you inevitably become successful. The 8 steps we've covered today aren't just techniques. They're a complete system for reprogramming your subconscious mind, raising your vibration, and aligning yourself with the forces of success and abundance. When you practice them consistently, you join the ranks of the most successful people who ever lived, all of whom understood these principles and applied them with dedication and faith. Let me leave you with this powerful truth. You already have everything you need to create an extraordinary life. You have a magnificent brain capable of solving any problem, creating any solution, and achieving any goal. You have access to infinite intelligence through your subconscious mind. You have the power to choose your thoughts, direct your emotions, and control your actions. The only thing missing is the daily discipline to use these gifts consciously and consistently. Fear has controlled your life long enough. It's time to take back your power and claim your birthright of success, abundance, and joy. It's time to stop letting circumstances determine your state of mind and start using your state of mind to transform your circumstances. It's time to stop being a victim of your conditioning and start being the conscious creator of your destiny. The morning ritual we've explored today is your gateway to this transformation. It's simple enough for anyone to practice, but powerful enough to revolutionize your entire life when applied consistently. You have the knowledge, you have the tools, and you have the potential. The only question now is whether you have the commitment to turn this knowledge into daily action and daily action into permanent transformation. Remember to subscribe to this channel for more life-changing content. And more importantly, remember that you are capable of achieving anything you can conceive and believe. Your dreams are not too big, your goals are not unrealistic, and your vision is not impossible. You just need to align your daily actions with your highest aspirations and trust the process of growth and transformation. Start tomorrow morning. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier and begin the journey toward becoming the fearless, confident, successful person you were born to be. Your future self is counting on the decision you make right now. Make it a decision that honors your potential and serves your highest good. The time for excuses is over. The time for transformation is now. Kill fear forever by replacing it with faith. Replace doubt with certainty. Replace limitation with possibility. And replace mediocrity with greatness. Your extraordinary life is waiting for you on the other side of consistent daily practice. Take the first step tomorrow morning and never look back. But let me share something even more powerful with you before we part ways today. The ritual I've outlined is just the beginning of your transformation. It's the foundation upon which you'll build an entire lifestyle of success, abundance, and fearless action. Once you master these 8 steps, you'll discover that they naturally expand into every area of your life, creating a compound effect that accelerates your growth exponentially. Think about compound interest for a moment. Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world, and for good reason. When you invest money and earn interest on that investment, and then earn interest on the interest, your wealth grows at an ever-increasing rate. The same principle applies to personal development. When you invest time in your mental and emotional growth every morning, you earn dividends throughout the day in the form of better decisions, increased confidence, and expanded opportunities. Those dividends then compound, creating even more growth and success tomorrow. Charles M. Schwab, who worked closely with Andrew Carnegie and became one of the most successful industrialists in American history, understood this principle of compound growth in personal development. Schwab didn't just practice his morning routine when he felt like it or when times were tough. He practiced it religiously, understanding that consistency was the key to exponential growth. He would often say that the habits you practice in private determine the success you experience in public. Schwab faced enormous challenges in his career. He dealt with economic panics, labor strikes, fierce competition, and personal setbacks that would have destroyed most people. But his morning practice of mental discipline and vision reinforcement gave him the inner resources to not just survive these challenges, but to use them as stepping stones to even greater success. Every crisis became an opportunity to demonstrate his leadership. Every setback became a setup for a comeback. Every problem became a chance to develop his problem-solving abilities. This is what happens when you make the morning ritual a non-negotiable part of your life. Challenges don't disappear, but your capacity to handle them grows dramatically. Fear doesn't vanish overnight, but your courage develops to the point where fear becomes fuel rather than a roadblock. Obstacles don't stop appearing, but your ability to find creative solutions becomes so refined that obstacles transform into opportunities. Let me tell you about a specific technique within the ritual that can literally rewire your brain's response to fear in as little as 7 days. It's called the fear flip technique, and it's based on cutting-edge neuroscience research about how our brains process threat and opportunity. When you encounter something that triggers fear, your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, floods your body with stress hormones and prepares you for fight, flight, or freeze. This was useful when our ancestors faced physical dangers. But in today's world, this same response is triggered by psychological threats, like public speaking, taking risks, or pursuing ambitious goals. The fear flip technique teaches your brain to reinterpret these signals as excitement and opportunity, rather than danger and threat. During your morning ritual, specifically during the fear confrontation step, you're going to practice the fear flip technique. Think of a situation that normally makes you afraid, maybe starting a business, asking for a promotion, approaching someone you're attracted to, or speaking up in a meeting. Instead of trying to eliminate the fear, you're going to reframe it completely. Say to yourself, "This feeling of activation in my body isn't fear, it's excitement. My body is preparing me for peak performance. This elevated heart rate means I'm about to do something important. This heightened awareness means I'm fully engaged with the present moment. This energy is my body's way of giving me the resources I need to succeed." Then, visualize yourself using this energy to perform at your absolute best. See yourself speaking with confidence, thinking with clarity, and acting with power. Feel your body's activation working for you instead of against you. This simple reframe literally changes the neural pathways in your brain, transforming what used to be a fear response into a success response. Benjamin Franklin, one of the most accomplished individuals in American history, was a master of this type of mental reframing. Franklin wasn't born with natural confidence or exceptional abilities. As a young man, he was awkward in social situations, struggled with public speaking, and often felt intimidated by more educated or wealthy individuals. But Franklin developed a systematic approach to personal improvement that transformed every weakness into a strength. Franklin created what he called his virtue development system, where he would focus on improving one character trait each week. But more importantly, he learned to reframe every challenge as an opportunity for growth. When he made mistakes, instead of beating himself up, he would analyze what went wrong and extract valuable lessons. When he faced criticism, instead of becoming defensive, he would look for kernels of truth that could help him improve. When he encountered obstacles, instead of seeing them as barriers, he would view them as puzzles to be solved. This mindset of continuous improvement and positive reframing enabled Franklin to become successful in multiple fields: printing, writing, science, diplomacy, and politics. He didn't just practice his development system when things were going well. He especially relied on it during difficult times, using adversity as raw material for building character and wisdom. Your morning ritual serves the same function. It's not just about starting your day with positive thoughts. It's about training your mind to automatically look for growth opportunities in every situation, to find lessons in every setback, to see possibilities where others see problems. This mental programming becomes so strong that it operates automatically throughout the day, turning you into what Napoleon Hill called a success magnet. Now, let's talk about the spiritual dimension of this morning practice. Because true fearlessness comes not just from mental discipline, but from a deep connection to your higher purpose and inner wisdom. When you align yourself with something greater than your personal fears and desires, you tap into a source of courage and strength that's unlimited. Every great leader throughout history has understood this principle. They connected their daily actions to a mission that transcended their personal comfort and security. This connection gave them the strength to persist when others would have quit, to take risks when others played it safe, to maintain hope when circumstances seemed hopeless. During your morning ritual, particularly during the vision reinforcement step, spend time connecting with the deeper meaning behind your goals. Ask yourself, how will achieving this vision serve others? What positive impact will my success have on my family, my community, my industry, or the world? How can I use my talents and resources to make a meaningful contribution? When your goals are connected to service and contribution, fear loses much of its power over you. You realize that your success isn't just about you, it's about all the people you'll be able to help, inspire, and serve. This shifts your focus from self-protection to self-expression, from trying to avoid failure to trying to maximize your positive impact. Julius Caesar understood this principle when he crossed the Rubicon River with his army, knowing it meant civil war with Rome. Caesar wasn't motivated primarily by personal ambition, though ambition played a role. He was motivated by his vision of what Rome could become under strong leadership. He believed that his actions, though risky and controversial, would ultimately serve the greater good of the Roman people. This sense of higher purpose gave him the courage to take actions that would have paralyzed a leader focused only on personal security. Your Rubicon moments may not involve armies and empires, but they require the same kind of courage and commitment. Maybe it's the moment you decide to start your own business instead of staying in a secure but unfulfilling job. Maybe it's the moment you choose to invest in your education or skills instead of spending money on temporary pleasures. Maybe it's the moment you decide to have a difficult conversation that could transform an important relationship. These moments require you to act from faith rather than fear, from vision rather than circumstance, from possibility rather than probability. Your morning ritual prepares you for these moments by connecting you daily with your highest values, your deepest convictions, and your most important purposes. Let me share with you one more historical example that perfectly illustrates the power of morning mental discipline. Napoleon Bonaparte, regardless of what you think of his later actions, was undeniably one of the most effective leaders and strategists in human history. What many people don't know is that Napoleon had a rigorous morning routine that he followed whether he was in his palace in Paris or camping on a battlefield. Napoleon would wake before dawn and spend the first hour of each day in what he called mental preparation. He would review maps and strategic information, but more importantly, he would visualize the day's activities unfolding perfectly. He would see himself making brilliant decisions under pressure, inspiring his troops to extraordinary performance, and achieving his objectives despite any obstacles that might arise. Napoleon understood that battles are won in the mind before they're fought on the battlefield. His morning mental preparation gave him such unshakable confidence in his abilities that his troops began to believe they were literally invincible when fighting under his leadership. This belief became a self-fulfilling prophecy, contributing to Napoleon's string of seemingly impossible military victories. You may not be leading armies, but you're fighting battles every day against limitation, mediocrity, and fear. Your morning ritual is your mental preparation for these battles. When you start each day by reinforcing your vision, affirming your capabilities, and planning your actions, you approach the day's challenges with the same kind of unshakable confidence that made Napoleon's armies believe they were invincible. As we move toward the conclusion of our time together, I want to address one final obstacle that prevents many people from implementing these powerful principles. The fear of being different, the fear of standing out, the fear of what others might think if they see you practicing these success habits. This fear is particularly insidious because it disguises itself as humility or practicality. You might think, I don't want to seem arrogant or delusional by practicing affirmations and visualizations. I don't want people to think I'm obsessed with success or money. I don't want to be seen as someone who thinks they're better than others. But here's the truth. The people who criticize others for working on self-improvement are usually the same people who complain about their circumstances, but refuse to do anything to change them. They're not criticizing your methods. They're criticizing their own lack of commitment to growth. Don't let other people's limitations become your limitations. Don't let other people's fear of greatness prevent you from pursuing your own greatness. Remember, you're not practicing these principles to impress other people or to prove anything to anyone. You're practicing them because you have gifts to share with the world, dreams that deserve to be fulfilled, and a life that deserves to be lived to its fullest potential. When you become the best version of yourself, you give others permission to do the same. Your success becomes an inspiration rather than a threat. Theodore Roosevelt faced constant criticism for his ambitious goals and unconventional methods. Critics called him a show-off for his physical fitness routines, a dreamer for his conservation efforts, and a warmonger for his foreign policy. But Roosevelt understood that criticism from small-minded people is often a sign that you're doing something significant. He famously said, "It is not the critic who counts, but the man who is actually in the arena, who strives valiantly and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming." You are in the arena. Every morning when you practice this ritual, you're stepping into the arena of personal transformation. You're choosing to strive valiantly for something greater than mediocrity. You're choosing to risk failure in pursuit of extraordinary success. The critics sitting safely in the stands don't matter. What matters is your commitment to becoming everything you're capable of becoming. I want to end our time together with a challenge and a promise. The challenge is this: commit to practicing this 8-step morning ritual for the next 90 days without exception. Not 21 days, not 30 days, but 90 full days. This extended commitment will take you beyond the initial excitement and into the realm of permanent transformation. Here's what will happen during those 90 days. In the first 30 days, you'll overcome the initial resistance and establish the habit. In the second 30 days, you'll begin to see significant changes in your confidence, energy, and results. In the final 30 days, you'll experience what I call the breakthrough zone, where the compound effect of your daily practice creates seemingly miraculous changes in your life. And here's my promise to you. If you commit to this practice for 90 consecutive days, you will become a fundamentally different person. You will think differently, feel differently, and act differently. You will attract different opportunities, build different relationships, and create different results. Most importantly, you will discover that fear no longer has power over your decisions and actions. This isn't just positive thinking or motivational hype. This is the natural result of aligning your conscious and subconscious minds with success principles that have been tested by millions of people throughout history. These principles worked for Napoleon Hill, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and countless others. They will work for you if you work with them consistently and faithfully. Your transformation begins tomorrow morning. Set your alarm 15 minutes earlier than usual. Have a pen and paper ready for your action planning. Prepare your affirmations in advance so you can speak them with conviction. Create a playlist of inspiring music for your energy cultivation. Most importantly, make an unshakable commitment to yourself that you will show up every single day regardless of how you feel or what obstacles arise. Remember that you are not just changing your morning routine. You are rewiring your brain, reprogramming your subconscious mind, and transforming your entire relationship with fear, success, and your own potential. You are joining the ranks of the most successful people who ever lived, all of whom understood that extraordinary results require extraordinary daily practices. Before we part, please subscribe to this channel one final time if you haven't already. But more importantly, subscribe to the belief that you are capable of creating an extraordinary life. Subscribe to the commitment to daily growth and improvement. Subscribe to the vision of yourself as someone who lives fearlessly and achieves greatly. The world needs what you have to offer. Your family needs the best version of you. Your dreams deserve to be fulfilled. Your potential demands to be expressed. Fear has held you back long enough. Starting tomorrow, you begin the journey toward complete freedom from fear and complete alignment with success. The morning ritual awaits you. Your transformation begins now. Kill fear forever and step boldly into the magnificent life that is your birthright. The only question remaining is not whether you can do it, but whether you will do it. The answer to that question will determine everything that follows in your life. Choose courage, choose growth, choose greatness. Your future self is counting on the decision you make right now. But wait, there's something crucial I need to share with you before you begin this journey. Something that will determine whether you succeed beyond your wildest dreams or fall back into old patterns of fear and limitation. It's what I call the success insurance policy, and it's the difference between temporary motivation and permanent transformation. You see, most people approach personal development like they approach dieting. They get excited about the possibilities. They start strong for a few days or weeks, but then life gets challenging, motivation wanes, and they gradually slip back into old habits. They treat their growth as something optional, something they'll do when they feel like it, when they have time, when circumstances are perfect. But the people who create extraordinary lives treat their personal development like they treat breathing. It's not optional, it's not dependent on motivation, and it's not something they do only when it's convenient. It's an absolute necessity, a non-negotiable part of their daily existence, a sacred commitment to their highest potential. This success insurance policy consists of 5 powerful strategies that will ensure your morning ritual becomes an unbreakable habit that transforms your life permanently. These strategies are based on behavioral psychology research and have been proven effective by thousands of people who have successfully rewired their lives for success. The first strategy is called environmental design. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your willpower ever will. If you want to guarantee that you'll practice your morning ritual consistently, you need to design your environment to make success inevitable and failure nearly impossible. Tonight, before you go to bed, set up everything you need for your morning ritual. Place a notebook and pen next to your bed for your gratitude practice and action planning. Put a glass of water on your nightstand to hydrate your brain immediately upon waking. Set out comfortable clothes if you plan to include physical movement in your energy cultivation. Prepare your affirmations by writing them out clearly so you can read them with conviction. More importantly, remove everything from your environment that could derail your practice. Put your phone in another room or at least across the room so you're not tempted to check messages or social media first thing in the morning. Set up your space the night before so you don't have to make any decisions or overcome any obstacles when you wake up. Make practicing your ritual easier than not practicing it. The second strategy is called identity anchoring. This involves creating a new identity around your morning practice that becomes so strong it pulls you forward automatically. Instead of thinking, "I'm trying to develop a morning routine," you think, "I am someone who invests in personal growth every single day." Instead of, "I should practice these techniques," you think, "This is what I do because this is who I am." Write down a clear description of the person you're becoming through this practice. Maybe it's, "I am a disciplined, focused individual who starts each day with purpose and power." Maybe it's, "I am someone who has conquered fear and lives from a place of unshakable confidence." Read this identity statement during your morning ritual and throughout the day. Let it become so familiar, so true in your mind, that acting in alignment with it becomes automatic. Ralph Waldo Emerson understood this principle when he wrote, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." Emerson spent 30 minutes every morning connecting with his highest identity, reminding himself of his values, his mission, and his commitment to excellence. This practice of identity anchoring enabled him to become one of the most influential thinkers and writers of his generation. The third strategy is accountability architecture. This involves creating external systems and relationships that support your commitment and make it harder to quit when motivation fluctuates. Research shows that people who share their goals with others and create accountability mechanisms are 65% more likely to achieve those goals. Find someone who shares your commitment to growth and make a pact to support each other's morning practices. Text each other every day after completing your ritual. Share your insights, challenges, and victories. Create a friendly competition to see who can maintain the longest streak of consistent practice. If you can't find an accountability partner, create public accountability by posting about your commitment on social media. Share your daily progress, your insights from the practice, and how it's impacting your life. When you make your commitment public, you harness the power of social pressure to maintain consistency. You can also create financial accountability by making a bet with yourself or someone else. Commit to donating money to a cause you don't support if you miss more than 2 days in your first month of practice. The fear of losing money or supporting something you disagree with can be a powerful motivator during those moments when you feel like skipping your ritual. The fourth strategy is progressive mastery. This involves gradually increasing the complexity and depth of your practice as you build consistency and confidence. Start with the basic 8-step ritual for your first 30 days. Then begin adding advanced techniques and customizations that align with your specific goals and challenges. After mastering the foundation, you might add visualization techniques for specific skills you want to develop. If you're an entrepreneur, you might spend extra time visualizing successful presentations, negotiations, or strategic decisions. If you're focused on health, you might add visualizations of your body functioning optimally and your energy being unlimited. You might also add what I call mental rehearsal sessions, where you visualize yourself handling specific challenging situations with grace, wisdom, and power. See yourself speaking confidently in important meetings, making difficult decisions with clarity, handling criticism with strength, or pursuing opportunities despite uncertainty. The key is to avoid overwhelming yourself initially while creating a growth trajectory that keeps the practice engaging and increasingly powerful. Each month, add one new element or deepen one existing element. This progressive approach ensures continuous growth while maintaining consistency. The fifth and most important strategy is what I call legacy thinking. This involves connecting your daily practice to the long-term impact you want to have on your life and the lives of others. When you think about your morning ritual not just as a personal development exercise but as preparation for the contribution you want to make to the world, it takes on a sense of urgency and importance that transcends temporary motivation. Think about the person you'll become after practicing these principles for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. Think about the goals you'll achieve, the obstacles you'll overcome, the people you'll inspire, and the legacy you'll create. Think about how your transformation will impact your family, your friends, your colleagues, and everyone whose life you touch. Consider this. Every morning you practice this ritual, you're not just improving your own life. You're becoming a living example of what's possible when someone commits to growth and excellence. You're showing others that fear doesn't have to control our decisions, that circumstances don't have to determine our outcomes, that ordinary people can create extraordinary lives through extraordinary daily practices. When you think about your morning ritual as preparation for the impact you want to make, missing a day becomes almost unthinkable. You realize that every day you skip is not just a delay in your personal progress, but a delay in your ability to serve others at the highest level. Let me share one more historical example that perfectly illustrates the power of these success insurance strategies. Frederick Douglass, who escaped from slavery to become one of the most powerful orators and writers in American history, understood that his daily practices were not just about personal improvement, but about preparing himself to serve the cause of freedom and justice. Douglass had a morning routine that included reading, writing, and what he called mental fortification. He would remind himself of his mission to end slavery, visualize himself speaking powerfully to audiences, and prepare mentally for the challenges he would face as a black man fighting for equality in a hostile society. Douglass faced constant death threats, violent opposition, and legal persecution, but his morning practice gave him the mental strength and clarity to persist. He understood that his personal discipline was connected to something much larger than himself. Every morning he invested in his growth was an investment in the freedom of his people. This legacy thinking gave Douglass the strength to continue when quitting would have been easier and safer. It enabled him to speak truth to power, to challenge the most powerful institutions of his time, and to ultimately play a crucial role in ending slavery in America. Your mission may be different from Douglass's, but the principle is the same. When you connect your daily practices to your highest purpose and greatest contribution, you tap into a source of motivation that never runs dry. You realize that your personal transformation is not selfish but essential, not optional but obligatory, not just for you but for everyone whose life you're meant to touch. Now, let me give you a specific implementation strategy that will help you succeed from day one. I call it the minimum viable practice. This means starting with the smallest version of the ritual that still provides benefits, then building from there as the habit becomes established. For your first week, commit to just 5 minutes every morning. Practice gratitude for 2 minutes, do identity declarations for 1 minute, and spend 2 minutes on visualization. That's it. Don't try to do the full ritual. Don't overwhelm yourself with complexity. Just establish the habit of showing up every single day. In your second week, expand to 10 minutes by adding affirmations and basic action planning. In your third week, expand to 15 minutes by adding energy cultivation through movement or breathing exercises. By your fourth week, you'll be practicing the full ritual naturally and effortlessly because you've built the habit gradually and sustainably. This approach works because it removes the psychological resistance that comes from trying to make massive changes overnight. Your brain doesn't perceive 5 minutes as a threat to your current routine, so it doesn't activate the resistance mechanisms that typically sabotage new habits. But here's the beautiful part. Even 5 minutes of focused, intentional practice will begin changing your neurology immediately. You'll start experiencing benefits from day one, which will motivate you to continue and gradually expand your practice. Success builds on success, momentum creates more momentum, and before you know it, the full ritual will feel as natural as brushing your teeth. Let me also address the question of timing, because I know some of you are wondering when exactly to practice this ritual for maximum effectiveness. The ideal time is within the first hour after waking, before you engage with the outside world through emails, news, or social media. This ensures that you're programming your mind with empowering thoughts before external influences can shape your mental state. However, the most important factor is consistency, not perfect timing. If you can only practice during your commute, during your lunch break, or even in the evening before bed, that's infinitely better than not practicing at all. The key is to find a time that you can commit to every single day without exception. Some people prefer to break the ritual into smaller segments throughout the day. They might do gratitude and identity declarations immediately upon waking, visualization and affirmations during their commute, and action planning and energy cultivation during their lunch break. This approach can work well if your schedule doesn't allow for a concentrated practice session. The important thing is to complete all 8 steps every day in some form. The synergy between the steps is what creates the transformational power. Gratitude without action remains wishful thinking. Visualization without identity work lacks conviction. Affirmations without energy cultivation lack emotional power. The complete system is what rewires your brain and transforms your life. As we reach the conclusion of our time together, I want to share something personal with you. The principles and practices I've shared today aren't just theoretical concepts I've studied. They're the foundation of my own transformation, from someone who was controlled by fear to someone who lives with purpose, passion, and power. There was a time in my life when fear made all my decisions for me. Fear of failure kept me from pursuing my dreams. Fear of rejection kept me from building meaningful relationships. Fear of judgment kept me from expressing my authentic self. I was living what Henry David Thoreau called a life of quiet desperation, going through the motions, but never really living. Everything changed when I discovered these principles and committed to practicing them consistently. It wasn't easy at first. There were days when I didn't feel like practicing, when I questioned whether it was working, when I was tempted to give up and return to my old patterns. But I persisted because I knew that the alternative, staying where I was unacceptable. Gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, things began to change. I started making decisions based on possibility rather than fear. I began seeing opportunities where I used to see obstacles. I developed the confidence to pursue goals that once seemed impossible. Most importantly, I discovered that the person I was becoming through this daily practice was someone I genuinely liked and respected. This is what awaits you on the other side of commitment. Not just external success, though that will come. Not just the achievement of your goals, though you will achieve them, but the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing you're living up to your potential, expressing your authentic self, and making the contribution you were born to make. The journey begins with a single decision, followed by a single day of practice, followed by another single day, and another. You don't have to transform your entire life overnight. You just have to show up tomorrow morning and begin, then show up the next morning and continue, then the next morning and persist. One day, you'll look back and realize that the person you've become through this daily practice is unrecognizable from the person you were when you started. You'll realize that fear no longer has power over your decisions. You'll realize that challenges have become opportunities for growth. You'll realize that your dreams are not just possible but inevitable. But that realization can only come through practice, through consistency, through the daily decision to invest in yourself when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when the only reward is the quiet satisfaction of keeping a promise to yourself. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off 15 minutes earlier than usual, you'll have a choice. You can hit the snooze button and remain the person you've always been, or you can get up and begin becoming the person you're destined to be. You can let fear continue to make your decisions, or you can take the first step toward killing fear forever. The 8-step ritual is waiting for you. Your transformation is waiting for you. Your extraordinary life is waiting for you. The only question is, are you ready to claim it? If you've made it this far in our journey together, you've already demonstrated the commitment and persistence that success requires. Now take that same energy and channel it into daily action. Subscribe to this channel as a symbol of your commitment to growth. But more importantly, subscribe to the belief that you are capable of creating miracles in your life through consistent daily practice. The time for preparation is over. The time for transformation is now. Kill fear forever, embrace your power completely, and step boldly into the magnificent life that has been waiting for you all along. Your morning ritual begins tomorrow. Your new life begins tomorrow. Your journey from fear to fearlessness begins tomorrow. The alarm is set. The stage is prepared. The moment of truth approaches. What will you choose? Champions, your mind has been forged a little stronger today, but the real test isn't what you learned, it's what you do with it. Take action, dominate your day, and remember, we're not just building better thoughts, we're forging unstoppable lives. The forge doesn't stop, and neither do you. If this episode hit you where it counts, subscribe to Mental Forge Academy and join the Brotherhood of Champions who refuse to settle for ordinary. Go transform, strike while the mind is hot,